Alvin and the Chipmunks.
This
I
was
love
a
them.
major player in the cartoon world, and it was the brainchild of and the vocal work of David Seville, which was a stage
Seville,
name.
that's it.
Ross Bagdasarian. Ross
There you go.
Bagdasarian, born this date, 1919. And you know how he did it? He went into a recording studio, recorded himself in harmony, 3 tracks, and then just sped it up. And the great Patton Oswalt said that what he would do as a kid is get Alvin and the Chipmunks records and slow them down so that the Chipmunks themselves just sounded like normal people singing, ooh, ee, ooh, But David Seville sounded like this demon from the 9th level. Simon, oh, gosh. Just tremendous. So, hey, how was your weekend?
Boy, well, I'm just trying to recover from the week. I mean, I saw a meme on social media. Remember the famous Lucy and Ethel scene on the conveyor belt when they were trying to keep up with the chocolates? That was us trying to keep up with Donald Trump first week.
Yep.
I mean, that's us trying to keep up. You know, I think starting from now on, we're going to have to remember on Monday, we're going to have to go back to like Friday to catch up to where we are.
Like today. Hegseth was Friday night, right? Was it?
Right. Yeah. And a fascinating thing happened. I tweeted out my dismay over Mitch McConnell and Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. Isn't it funny how the algorithms work on social media? Yep. So I just pointed out one day Kentucky will have a senator who actually represents their interests because Kentucky deserves better than Mitch McConnell.
And Kentucky was total Trump country, and there was McConnell, one of the votes against Texas.
McConnell, who voted, for Lloyd Austin. He voted in favor of Ketanji Brown Jackson. But Pete Hegseth, that's a bridge too far for him? Anyway, the great Dan Bongino retweeted my comment, and this thing took off like a rocket. As of this, I've got almost 300,000 views on that little post I made. Of course, he's got like 9 million followers. So, but it's kind of cool the way that works. The way and you've had that happen before, where people have reposted your comments, and then it takes off. But look, it's disgusting. I don't understand. Did you see the video of Mitch waddling over and shaking hands with the Democrats after he voted no on Pete Hegseth? I mean, come on. What's with these guys? Is this just I guess it's a blank you to Donald Trump.
Of course it is. It is obstructionism on purpose. And Lisa Murkowski up in Alaska should also be ashamed of herself. Alaska is Trump country. Do you carve out a smidge of, I don't know, forgiveness, understanding? Susan Collins is from Maine. I'm glad to have her rather than any Democrat from Maine. But Kamala did win Maine. Susan Collins' vote, many of them may not have been thrilled with Hegseth. So do we have a carve-out for her? Or doggone it, because this is where I am. You're a Republican. You might not like it, but Trump won. He's a president of your party. This is who he wants. There is no reason to deny, no reason. Oh, the drinking, oh, the this. In the past, irrelevant, done. So what's your thought on Senator
Well, just
Collins?
don't call yourself a Republican then. Just don't call yourself a conservative. Don't pretend to be a member of a party that utterly rejects you caucusing with Democrats over and over and over again. Would Susan Collins win in Maine if she ran as a Democrat? Would Lisa Murkowski win in Alaska if she ran as a Democrat? And see, here's the key with these states. The reason these women are still in power, it's real simple, ranked choice voting. That's all it's about. They don't run elections normally in a normal way in those states. They have this stupid ranked choice voting, this complicated, convoluted system where it's the top few and then the one gets eliminated, blah, blah, blah. That's the only reason they're in there. I guess the voters see them time and time again as the lesser of many evils. You know, I'm so riveted by the way the media has done this complete pivot on the way they're covering Trump, and it's not going unnoticed. I heard a little bit of a podcast this morning from a guy who used to be on CNN, Oliver Darcy, and he left CNN.
He was their media guy. He was their media analyst guy, wasn't he?
Right, and he was ripping them constantly, And how'd that work out for him? So now he's doing his own thing, and he's got his own. And God bless him. I don't care, And so, but he gave an interview to a podcast. It's just I forget Justin. What podcast was it? In the News podcast, or I don't know what it was. But anyway,
Just the News. John Solomon.
No, it wasn't Solomon. It was a mainstream media podcast. Anyway, he made the comment. He was expressing dismay at how the CNN of today isn't the CNN of 2016. And he was complaining about it. Look, make no mistake, this guy hates Trump, frankly hates CNN for normalizing Trump. That's his big thing. That's the thing these guys go down they go down this path of you can't normalize Trump.
Humanize him, exactly.
Right. And you know what he said in the interview that just I almost wrecked the car. I'm listening to him in the car, and he says, it's almost as if the new management and the new ownership of CNN, because they've had an ownership change and they got a new manager. I think Mark Thompson used to be, what's his name, Zucker, right? Jeff Zucker. Now they got a new management. They got new management. He said, and I quote, it's almost as if they want to let the guy govern this time.
Imagine.
He actually said it. He said it out loud, Mark. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I rewound it because I thought, did he actually say it? Now, did he mean that? Was it a Freudian slip? I mean, I think that's their problem. They can't believe that anybody in the media is going to let Trump actually govern as president. And this is what the American people, I think the management of CNN is saying, look, this guy won big. This guy, we're not going to do ourselves any favor just being the constant, thorn in his side, and we're ripping him, and we're, let him govern. And this Oliver Darcy guy was actually complaining about it. That's how you got to get into their psyche. That's their mindset. They're the ones that are sort of normalizing the weaponization of a media or a Justice Department in order to try to keep him from governing. They don't want to let him govern.
They remember 2016 when Trump won, inaugurated in 2017, and then impeachments and Russia, and just everything mobilized to stop him. And it's just not happening this time. Those people, those voices of contrarianism have just been shunted off to the side. They have been marginalized. And now the CNN, which we're talking about, now employs one of the best conservative analysts in the business, Scott Jennings. And every couple of days, they have their data analyst, a guy named Harry Enton. Did you hear him over the weekend? Hey,
I sure did.
America is loving what Trump is doing by large margins, and he continues to draw attention.
And the no-name female anchor was there saying, "Well, now wait a minute. Trump hasn't changed at all," and that's true. He hasn't.
Yep.
The American people's response to him has changed. Largely because the media is pivoting.
Quick pause. Trump has not changed. Okay, his heart, his spine, his desires, his agenda, totally right. But I would suggest to you that Trump 2.0, is this him changing or just getting smarter? I would suggest the change, whatever you want to call it, is he comes in no longer a neophyte, no longer blind to the ways of Washington. He is so much smarter, so much more strategic. This team that's making its way into power is so much better, and we're not going to have, quite frankly, the clusters that we had in 2017 and 18.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of a moot point. I don't think he's changed. I think he's got the experience now of another term under his belt, and he's surrounding himself with people who are not. Now they know that the John Kellys and the John Boltons of the world are only looking to advance themselves. They wanted a brief taste they wanted a seat at the table for a few minutes, and then they wanted to go off and write a book and trash him.
Exactly.
Right. All these people that are just
whatever.
And there was, I think, this time around a different standard. And we're going to look for people who are loyal. We're going to look for the Pete Hegseths. Incidentally, this is going to be a fun week too. RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel. That's all this week.
Are they? If I heard somebody say this morning, if Hegseth made it, they're all going to make it. I think that probably is true.
My prediction is Tulsi is going to have the hardest time of all. I think they've got the sharp knives out for Tulsi Gabbard, and let's face it. If you're a rock rib conservative, she's not. She's just not. But we'll see. I mean, she has. Look, I by the way, quick note about John Bolton. I want to pick your brain on this. So Trump announced among the 93,000 announcements last week and all the executive orders and all of his visits, and he's in North Carolina, and he's in L.A., and he's in Vegas. He's hanging out at the craps tables in Vegas with everybody cheering and USA, USA. It's staggering this week. I still can't get over it. This is like a great, delicious movie. But one of the things he revealed was he's pulling the security for people like Mike Pompeo and John Bolton. Now, John Bolton has been listed as a target by Iran for the role that Bolton played when he was National Security Advisor. And Trump is getting some interesting pushback from some good people. I like Tom Cotton a lot. And Tom Cotton's like, I really wish the president would revisit this. I don't know. I struggle with this. There's a logical question. How many years does a John Bolton get taxpayer-funded security?
Yeah, Mike Pompeo, too. There was an aide to Mike Pompeo. Like Mike Pompeo's briefcase holder guy got protection. I mean, the Secret Service is overwhelmed as it is, so part of me is okay on dialing this back. John Bolton is an annoying slug. I don't want him to get killed. But
what a mess that would be if Iran could hurt him or kill him. Trump gets blamed. Then Iran has then we got a real mess on our hands. Not to mention the fact that nothing should happen to any of our elected officials, even when we think they're a slug.
Correct.
I will tell you, I'm troubled by this. I kind of wish. And look, knowing Trump, look what he does though. He is capable of turning things around too. I think there was. I saw J.D. Vance made an announcement that one of the early executive orders, what was it about? They completely reversed it. Doggone, I'm drawing a blank. It was something to do with it wasn't protection. Doggone it, I'm blanking out on what it was. Maybe somebody on the text line will remind me. 800-655-6453. But there was something that right away they were called out on, and J.D. Vance said, you know what, you're right, we're going to reverse that, we're going to change it. So he's capable of revisiting. He's not going to be all totally invested. Let's face it, the personal protection for 2 or 3 people isn't going to break the bank. And I just don't like the way it looked. I don't like it.
Do you think it was partially tongue in cheek, and I'm being snarky, admittedly. I'd said that, listen, hey John, relax. Like most of Americans, Iran has forgotten that you were ever born.
Yeah,
which I think is largely true. But does this put Bolton back on Iranian radar, where they would try to take him out to make Trump look bad?
Right, that's what I worry about, and they have long memories. Look, these terrorists, they'll wait a long time. They'll wait look at the time they took between the first World Trade Center attack and the second World Trade Center attack. By the way, J.D. Vance with Margaret Brennan yesterday. Oh my gosh! I mean, that poor woman's having a bad week because they fired her, right? She's out as was she? Wait a minute. Who am I getting them mixed up? I get them mixed up. Yeah, who's the anchor on CBS?
That's Margaret Brennan.
Nora O'Donnell.
Oh, yeah,
so she's out.
She was the anchor of their evening newscast, I want to say. Yeah.
Right. Now, who's taking over tonight?
Like I pay attention to the
I know.
CBS
I don't even know who anchors the evening news anymore.
Well, David Muir, Lester Holt. There's ABC, NBC. They've been around forever. But
CBS is like a revolving door.
I don't even know.
It was, thank you, Texas. It was the Tuskegee Airmen issue. So one of Trump's executive orders over DEI suggested that they would not be teaching about the Tuskegee Airmen, and that was going to come off the list. Yeah. And then J.D. Vance and Trump said, "You're right. No, absolutely not. We're reversing that because and that was Alabama that
vital history.
Yeah, but I mean they can do that. They can. He's capable of doing it. But look at the list. I mean, Mark, just last week. Can I do a quiz in our final 30 seconds?
Go.
Trump won. Week 1, immigration, an all national emergency at the southern border, thousands of troops deployed, construction, pardons, pro-lifers, pardon January 6ers, signed EOs, directed a ban on weaponization of government, banned censorship of free speech, directed investigators. I mean, there's a list here it was Insurrection Barbie. It's 7 pages long
As I've said,
for
people,
week 1.
People used to measure a president's first 100 days. Now they're going to measure the first 5. The next few presidents, like, how'd he do in his first week?
This man gives 0 blanks. Don't mess with him.
No blanks.
Daddy is home, and he's got the belt off. Daddy's got the belt in his hand. He's ready for the next 4 years, and I am too, and you are as well. We are ready.
Mike is
all right,
ready
happy
to go.
Monday.
As soon as we're done, 10 o'clock, right here on 660 AM The Answer.